My entire school just got out for Christmas break. I'm in college, so we were able to get out early. Some of my friends decided to host a party for New Year's Eve. The party was going to be on Friday night at their house. I was obviously going to attend the party, since this girl I had a crush on was going to be there. Tonight was the night I was going to ask her out. Fast forward a couple of hours, and I was on my way, walking towards the party. The party was only 2 blocks away from my house, so that's why I decided to walk. I figured I was going to drink, and I didn't want to drive. I should probably mention that we live in a significantly safe neighborhood. When I arrived, I could hear loud music and lots of people talking. I walked in and met up with some of my friends. My best friend instantly dared me to go up to my crush and ask her to dance. I'll call her Emily. They wanted me to express my feelings to her. I was kinda shy, so I kept putting it off. 20 minutes later, the dare showed up again. This time, it was from my other friend. Fine, I'll go, I told him. I walked up to her. I was wondering if you want to dance. I extended my arm in her direction. To my surprise, she actually said yes. I was over the moon with excitement as I looked towards my friends. They were all hyped for me. As I walked over to the dance floor, all the hype went away when the power went out completely. The music stopped playing and the lights went out. A wave of shocked people was heard throughout the party. I told Emily that I was gonna go talk to my friend, the host of the party, about the situation. When I walked over to him, he looked confused. He was not sure why the power went out. "Wanna come out to the side of the house and check on the fuse box?" he asked me. I agreed, and we both walked over to the box. The fuse box looked completely broken, as if someone smashed it. "It must be someone from the party," I said. "It can't be. No one would break my property for a prank," he replied. Both my friend and I walked back to check on everyone and make sure everything was okay. At this point, we were not sure what to do. We didn't want to call the police since the party would be busted. Some of the people were already starting to leave since the power was still out. Once everyone was gone, the only people left was my friend and I and my crush and her friend. The 4 of us were still here. I thought it was a little weird that someone would smash the fuse box intentionally to ruin the party. At that exact moment, I heard a crack sound coming from the stairs leading to the 2nd floor. I instantly looked towards the stairs, but couldn't see anything since it was dark. As my eyes adjusted, I could see the silhouette of a man standing there. I noticed that none of my friends saw the man. Trying to sound as calm as possible, I told everyone that we need to leave the house. Everyone was so confused, but they did as I said. Outside, I called the police and explained the story to my friends. Once the cops arrived, they searched the entire house and found a man who ended up being in his 60s, hiding under my friend's bed. After that experience, Emily and I ended up hanging out and dating. What scares me the most is the fact that things could have ended really bad if I did not notice the strange man on the stairs. It was around 7:30 p.m., and I was getting ready to go to a party for New Year's. My friend was hosting a party, and the location was a 10-minute car ride away. The party was located at my friend's house in a small neighborhood. He also told me that he wasn't going to invite a lot of people, just a few close friends. When I arrived, my friend let me into the house. We all started playing table tennis to pass the time. We had to wait until midnight, which was the best time of the party. Around 2 hours later, we were watching TV when the doorbell rang. I was confused since all the guests already arrived at the party. Either way, my friend decided it was a good idea to open the door. The sound of distant fireworks was echoing loudly as he opened the door. He was greeted by an old lady who handed him a slip of paper without saying a word. As soon as my friend grabbed the paper, the lady turned around and started walking into the darkness. This was already a red flag, as it was strange and kinda scary. When my friend and I walked back into the living room, he proceeded to read the slip of paper. There was gonna be a huge fireworks show at the house on the corner block. The address and time of the show was also written on the paper. Being stupid at the time, we all thought it was a good idea to attend the fireworks show. The show was supposed to start around midnight, so when the time came, we set out towards the house. We decided to walk since it was close to my friend's house. As we approached the address, we could see a small broken house. We were all terrified, but we followed the note from the old lady. Once we were practically in front of the abandoned house, we realized it must have been a dumb prank. We figured since we were already here, we might as well check out the abandoned house. For some reason, I was leading the group as we entered through a broken window. Inside the house, it was completely dark. My friend and I took out our phone flashlights and turned them on. We could see lots of broken furniture. As we continued on our way, I heard a loud thump coming from the second floor of the house. I jumped. My friend then assumed it was probably an animal, so we all calmed down. We started walking up the stairs to the second floor. Once we reached the top, I shined my flashlight into the first room. There, I could see 2 mattresses on the floor, as if 2 people were living in the abandoned house. I quickly continued towards the second room and shined my light inside. What I saw inside that room, I will never forget for the rest of my life. The same old woman from earlier was now sitting down in a rocking chair facing the wall. She was rocking in the chair and muttering some random words. It was as if she was in a trance. I was standing in the doorway in complete fear. That's when a small raspy voice said, "Are you here to join us for New Year's?" The hairs in my arms stood up as I yelled at my friends to run. We quickly jumped out the broken window and escaped the house. On our way back to my friend's house, I looked back towards the house one time. In the far right window, I saw the old woman staring directly at us and smiling. Not only that, standing right next to her in the window was an old man who was also staring at us. I finally had enough as I called the cops to check on the abandoned house. To this day, I still can't shake the feeling that the old man was also somewhere in the house watching us. This story took place on New Year's, on a Friday night. My dad was working late today, and he was going to get home at 1:30 a.m. Also, my mom was out of town for the week. The sun had already set a couple hours ago, and it was pitch dark outside. I used to hang out with my cousins every single Friday, so I called them over. When they answered, they said they were busy, so I decided to watch TV instead. I was watching for at least an hour. After a while, I turned off the TV since it was getting late. That's when I realized my cat was staring out the window at something. Seeing this kind of freaked me out, so I slowly walked to the window to see what he was looking at. When I got to the window, I looked in the direction that he was looking, and I saw that he was staring at the dark part of the backyard. I decided to ignore it and take a shower. When I finished the shower, I went to check on my cat. He was still staring in the same direction. He didn't even move. Now I started to freak out, so I took my flashlight and shined it in the dark part of the backyard. At first I didn't see anything, but then I noticed an old lady crouched down next to a pile of sticks in my backyard. My heart dropped. She had ragged hair, and it looked like she was wearing a hospital gown. When she saw me staring at her, she turned her whole head in my direction. I then quickly ran to my room and locked the door. I called my dad and then the police. The police said to hide in a closet and not come out, so that's what I did. At least until I heard a knock at the front door. I knew it must have been the police, so I ran to the front door and opened it. Before I could even open the screen door, I saw it. The most terrifying thing I've ever seen. It was the old lady standing there with a giant smile on her face. She was just staring at me. I jumped back and slammed the door shut. As soon as she was about to open the screen door, I was able to lock the front door. This prevented her from getting inside. I got a random boost of adrenaline, which pushed me to scream at her, saying the police are on the way. I then ran back to my room, but on the way there, I heard it. The back door started opening. The noise the door made was the scariest noise I've ever heard. Instead of going to my room, I took the closest door, which led downstairs to the basement. As I ran down the stairs, I could hear the old lady chasing me at full speed. When I reached the basement, she started giggling. I ran in the corner and hid. This is because there was not much light in the basement, so she would hopefully not see me. At this point I was shaking, so the sound of the police sirens were amazing to hear. As I was scanning the basement, my heart dropped. In the corner on the other side of the basement, I saw the same old lady staring at me with her giant smile. Her bloodshot eyes were wide open. I screamed as loud as I could to get the attention of the police officers. That's when I heard a bunch of shuffling and her creepy giggling. I thought I was going to die, but luckily the police officers broke down the basement door. They had their flashlights on, which allowed me to see the old lady crawling at me at full speed. She also had her hair over her head. When she was about arm's reach from me, an officer tased her and she fell to the floor. They put her in handcuffs. That was the most horrifying night of my life. After that night, I was never left home alone again. Also, New Year's was ruined for the entire family. I can't imagine what would have happened if my cousins weren't busy and they came over to my house that day.